Okay, I think, well, we should be going live now, but I think I just realized the camera's like not even. Yeah, I think that's alright. Maybe? I think so. Well, that's better. There we go. Yeah, I think that is better. Okay. So for those watching, just let me know if everything sounds okay, if everything looks okay. The Treehouse will be starting shortly. Put that up there. Checking with the chat now. Everything looks okay on this end over here. Hello there, Beverly Carter. Hello there, 3vote8965. You're saying it sounds great. Cool. Thank you. David Haney, hello. Cool, it's perfect. Thank you, David. I am ready for this. So, I mean, just from the description, Nintendo Treehouse Live returns October 7th at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time for me, with a live streamed presentation featuring 2 segments. Tune in for a Pikmin 3 Deluxe deep dive and a new stage and gameplay details for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I have no idea how long this will be. Could be an hour, could be an hour and a half, could be 30 minutes. We will see. In terms of my expectations, obviously, I feel like Nintendo was pretty clear about what this was. So I'm not expecting anything else beyond Pikmin 3 and Hyrule Warriors. So that is that. But in terms of like what we might see, you know, for Pikmin 3, I mean, they may just show, you know, the gameplay, like the traditional campaign, and just kind of show us how it works with the Switch controls and some of the change. They tinker with some things, and they tinker with the lock-on system and things of that nature. So I definitely think that you know, we're gonna see that. Will we see like the Olimar missions, the new Olimar missions? I think there's a chance we might see an element of that, although I'm not entirely sure, because they might want to keep that as a surprise, or they don't want to really spoil it too much until we actually get the game, or until the game comes out. So I'm not sure if they're going to show that off, but definitely we'll at least get to see how the tinkered controls will work on Switch. In terms of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, I'm expecting... okay, maybe my expectations are too high, but I'm thinking we're going to get like another character. We're going to get to see another playable character. Maybe King Rome, maybe Purah, maybe Robbie. I don't know. Point is, I think we'll see another character playable. That's what I'm thinking we will see, but we shall see. Podcast Dojo, hello bro, what's up? How you doing, man? I am doing well, just to answer your question. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm gonna watch some Treehouse footage, and you know, today's one of my days off in the week, so I have time to do things. Hello there, playing Fortnite gives you autism. How you doing? I'm fine. I'm fine. So another thing, I'll probably want to make sure I turn off the background music before we actually go live. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything of that nature, or predictions you want to put out there, just put them out there now, before we actually go live with this little presentation here. I'll say that I'm pretty happy to see another Treehouse. I mean, we thought there would be another Treehouse. We've talked about there probably would be more Treehouse, and we're getting more Treehouse. The last time we got Treehouse footage earlier this year, it was for Paper Mario, the Origami King, and they also had the Bakugan announcement. And I remember there was a fair bit of disappointment with that, because the day before, there was some speculation that it would be a Metroid game that was getting announced, and to some extent it made a lot of sense, because one, there were a lot of rumors stemming from early in the year that there would be both a Paper Mario game and a 2D Metroid game coming out this year. So that was the basic rumor. Maybe there wasn't specifications if they would both come out this year, but there was at least rumors for both these games coming. And considering that in 2017, Mercury Steam finished Metroid Samus Returns, we're in 2020. There were interviews talking about how they had a strong desire to continue working on the game. There were some implications that they would probably work on another Metroid game really soon, given that it's a 2D Metroid game, 3 years, and the rumors for this year, and on top of that, the little tease at the end of the first Paper Mario trailer with Paper Mario putting on that Samus helmet. A lot of people were thinking, oh, is something Metroid coming, right? And I remember at the time, I was like, no, that's not what this is. This is going to be a third-party announcement, you know, and it was a third-party announcement, and it was not one that excited a lot of people. It was the Bakugan thing. So a lot of people got really disappointed about that, especially considering that some people were hoping for Metroid. So that hasn't happened yet. I do still think we are getting a 2D Metroid, just hasn't happened yet. So, yeah, I do not expect anything like... There's not going to be any disappointments this time around unless you're expecting more than what they're saying. They're saying Hyrule Warriors and Pikmin 3, and that's it. So I'm not concerned about, you know, a lot of backlash, I guess. I don't really think that's going to happen this time around. But definitely last time there was a lot of backlash, especially because at that point we didn't have much information about what Nintendo was doing for this year. But anyway, you know, I'm happy that Treehouse is back. And with 2 games that I'm excited to see more gameplay for. I was definitely interested to see Paper Mario gameplay. I do not care at all about the Bakugan thing. I'm not sold on Pikmin 3 Deluxe, so this is definitely going to be important for me to decide if maybe I want to go forward and get it, especially because it's coming out in a few weeks. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, 100% buy. I just want to see more of the game. There's just so many things about this game that I think could be really exciting, especially for us Zelda fans. So just getting more information about that is a treat. So that's already sold for me. Pikmin 3 Deluxe has something to prove tonight. Or today. It's not tonight. It's 1 p.m. for me. But today, Pikmin 3 Deluxe has a lot to prove, I think. I don't know who plays Bakugan playing Fortnite. I have no idea. I'm sure there's a lot of people who do though. Because it was definitely something Nintendo put in that Treehouse because it was a business partnership. They probably thought that would go over really well with a certain audience. Not for everyone, but you know, yeah, I think they thought some people would be excited about it at least. Yes, David Haney, we agree. David Haney said, I think it's just what they said. It's going to be just the 2 games. That's it. Absolutely. Yeah, that is what I expect. Hey, Brandon, what's up? You missed it. I don't think. What did you miss? The presentation doesn't start until 5 minutes from now. I think you're good. Did you not know about it beforehand? Is that what you're alluding to? Yeah, they announced it yesterday, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, Brad. No, it hasn't ended. It's gonna start in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, this is gonna happen. Yeah, I mean, so it's a little confusing because it says 10 a.m. Pacific time. So if you're not a part of Pacific time, you might be a little confused. I was happy to see that it was gonna be at this time though, because that way I could kind of like sleep in a little bit and stuff. But for Eastern timers, it's 3 hours ahead, so 1 p.m. for me. SSB Player 1, hello. I wonder what the new stage Pikmin 3 Deluxe will be. You know, I don't think they're talking about a new stage for Pikmin 3 Deluxe, actually. So if we go and we read here, it says, tune in for a Pikmin 3 Deluxe deep dive and a new stage and gameplay details for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. So that's how I read it. I read it as a new stage and gameplay details for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and a deep dive of Pikmin 3 Deluxe. 2 separate things. Now I guess you could potentially read it as Pikmin 3 Deluxe deep dive and a new stage and gameplay details for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. But I think it's the other way around. New stage and gameplay details for Hyrule Warriors, and a deep dive for Pikmin 3 Deluxe. That's what I'm thinking. Consider this, Pikmin 3 Deluxe is a game that already exists. So showing off a new stage, probably not happening unless they're talking about the Olimar missions, which as I said earlier, I'm not expecting for them to show too much of that. They might show a little bit, but I think they want to keep most of that under wraps because that's most of the new content in the game. So they might want to save that for a little bit later. So I think it's more likely that this little description here is for a new stage for Hyrule Warriors. And from what I understand of the Warriors games, it's more mission based. There's gonna be different levels. So a new stage kind of makes more sense for that because that's how they would describe another level, I think. Yeah. Let's see here. Brandon, you're gonna get a COVID test? Have you been interacting with people, or have you been quarantining? Playing Fortnite, it's 19 o'clock p.m. for you, so I guess that's 7 p.m. Is that right? Yeah, 7 p.m. SSB Player 1, the wording got you confused. Every time there is some sort of presentation, every time from Nintendo and they put out a little description, people pick it apart, and there's always like some room for interpretation every time. Oftentimes Nintendo has to go ahead and like do my cat, that's why I look back. But every time not every time, but many times Nintendo has to have like a follow-up tweet to further specify what's going on, and even after that further specification, there's still sort of room for interpretation. So I wouldn't feel bad about that. When I first read it, I debated it a little bit, but my ultimate conclusion is they're talking about Hyrule Warriors. But we'll see once they actually show us the footage there. Yeah, Brandon, definitely stay safe. Hello there, Lowru Legend. What's up? Playing Fortnite. Yes, we're but a minute away. Rule of Two Review, what's up, man? Yeah, I am looking forward to new stage 2. I guess we don't know what it's gonna be. I think there's a good chance it's probably gonna be from a location. Oh, we're starting. Okay, let me pause this music over here. All right, this show is on. It's happening, guys. Here we are, starting soon. Okay. Oh, look, the ladder set is swinging. We need a new Donkey Kong game. That's what that's what Treehouse is. I'm assuming it's based off of the Donkey Kong house. Oh, Rule 2 Review, a shrine level. That's an interesting idea.
Hi everyone, I'm JC from the Nintendo Treehouse.
Guys, let me know if everything sounds okay,
Live.
right?
Nintendo Treehouse Live is a way for us to give folks a sneak peek of some of the games and projects we're working on. In this case, we have 2 projects to show you today. Later in the program, we're going to give you a look at Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. But first, we do want to give you a look at a game that it's very, very near and dear to us in the Treehouse, which is Pikmin 3 Deluxe. And who better to show us through a Pikmin game than my man Corey. So Corey and I are going to take you through a little bit of the main adventure story mode, if you will, and we'll sprinkle a couple of new things along the way. So Corey, want to kick us off?
Yeah, thank you. It is my pleasure to talk anything Pikmin related. As you mentioned, JC, we are showing Pikmin 3 Deluxe today, and right now we're in story mode, probably about 5 minutes into the story, past the introduction, tutorial, cutscenes, etc. And I am controlling one of the explorers named Alf here. Generally, what the story is 3 Alf and 2 explorer companions of his crash land on this alien planet and find themselves in need of getting back together again, finding the other explorers, but also finding food.
It could
for
be the
their
compression,
planet.
but
and they
I really don't feel like there's much visual improvements.
Which are adorable plant-like creatures we can see here that are very curious, they're very loyal, and you'll be using them throughout your adventure. So I just called a few red Pikmin out of the base here. And you notice I'm skipping a few of the kind of prompts. I'm going to be doing that a little bit throughout this, just in order to keep the flow going, as well as not to spoil the game for everyone as well. So, but as I move my left stick around, you're able to see that I control my explorer, and the left stick also controls this red cursor as well. So if I'm all the way out of range, it also moves the explorer. If I push the A button where the cursor is located, you'll toss a Pikmin to that location. And if you toss a Pikmin near something like this flower pellet over here, you'll see that the Pikmin automatically starts to carry it back to his base, which is called an onion.
Low Rule Legend, I am a
pop
fan
out
of
the top
Pikmin.
there,
I haven't
and
played
then go
through
into
every
the
single
ground,
game in its
which
entirety,
is the way
though.
Pikmin propagate.
I did
So
have
if you wanna
Pikmin
get
3.
more
I never
Pikmin
got
on
to
your
finish
squad,
it.
You just want to
So
bring
I'm
things
definitely
back to their base.
have my eyes peeled for
and
this
then
one
pluck
because I
the
might pick
new
it up
Pikmin out
and
of the
finally
ground.
100% Pikmin 3.
I've been using the control
But yes,
stick
I
to
would consider
control
myself
thus
a fan
far
of Pikmin.
the cursor. But what I'm going to do now briefly is just pause the game and switch over to motion control.
Oh, here
to
we go.
control the cursor.
Here we go.
Just because that's
Cursor
personal
control,
preference of
gyro
mine
control, gyro control.
that,
Okay.
I started to like a lot more on the Wii U release, but it is totally optional for player preference on how to control the pointer. So that red pointer where you see 23 is now being controlled with just a little bit of motion now. So
There we go.
story-wise,
pointer
we are
controls.
trying to reunite with our fellow explorer, Brittany. And if I pause the game using the minus button, we can see that there's sort of a radar being pulsating over here across the water. So it looks like I need to somehow cross the water to reach Brittany. But
Oh no!
if I try to take the direct approach and just go through the water, we're finding out that the game tells us that red Pikmin are not able to go into the water. Water is lethal to them. So fortunately, I can use my whistle
I think
with the B button
gyro controls are
and whistle all of my
underestimated a
Pikmin
lot.
back to land. So
In games, I think
because
people
the
who
Pikmin are so helpful
sort of
throughout
got
my
a
adventures,
sour
you
taste
really
of
do
it
grow
from
a
the
bond
Wii
to them,
era,
and you do not want
or
to,
just didn't
lose
give it a
even one.
try.
But
I
there's
haven't
a
given it
little
a
creature
try
over
during
here
the
that
Switch
wants a
era,
lunch too, so
where it works
it looks
really
online.
well for a lot of games.
these yellow things that you'll come across are memos, which can often give you a brief hint.
So yes,
on
I think
how
gyro
to,
controls are pretty good.
go about your adventure
Michael
here.
Lear.
So it recommended me tossing a Pikmin on the back of that creature, which if I toss a couple more, we'll be able to carry that creature back to the base to get more Pikmin. And
Brandon, you were
actually
saying
tossed some Pikmin
we'll
on
have to
this,
wait for release to know for
these
sure.
bridge
But yeah, the
tiles
original
as
trailer
well,
also showed
because
pretty
what
much
we're able
no
to see is
improvements.
even
Or
though
really
I
they at
can't
least bumped the
cross
resolution to
the
1080p,
water
also
yet,
fix some rough
if I
textures.
collect enough bridge
Yeah, I
tiles
mean,
with
it's
my
already
Pikmin,
October though.
they'll be able to
I don't
build this
expect
bridge.
that at this
So
stage.
while they
This
are
is probably
bringing
final build of
those
the game.
tiles to the bridge,
I would
I can
think.
see that there's a few
Could
more
be
bridge
wrong, but-
pieces across this wall, but I need to break down that wall. So if I toss a couple Pikmin at the wall, they'll start breaking it down, but they'll go pretty slowly. So if I want to speed up the process, we throw more Pikmin at the job. And meanwhile, we still have our Pikmin collecting these tiles. Looks like my Pikmin also brought back that carcass from the small little creature, so we were able to get even more Pikmin. And we'll throw these new Pikmin at the wall to make it go even faster.
You know, this whole thing about Pikmin, I do want to talk a bit more about that because I think it's really interesting. You know, these Pikmin, you think about it, right? You pluck them out of the ground. With these big eyes, they're still trying to figure out the world, and they're kind of relying on someone to tell them what to do. So, as you can tell, all these Pikmin have like a single focus when you tell them what to do. And, you know, from their perspective, it's like, okay, well, I should follow this
I'm just taking note of the
thing,
mini
this
map.
living thing that's telling me what to do, right? But at the same time, you know, it's kind of curious about you. The open eyes, full of wonder, you know, it's kind of relying on you to kind of help it, right? And so I feel kind of bad because, you know, at times you may encounter some enemies and Pikmin may, what's the word, die. And that sound is absolutely heartrending, and I do not wish that on anyone. However, if you put Pikmin in a bad situation, it's kind of your fault. It's not theirs. So take care of your Pikmin. That's the story.
That's right. And I had to go back and collect them. As you mentioned, they were single-minded, so once they're done with a task, they kind of just wait for their next order. So you're constantly needing to whistle to get their attention whenever they complete their tasks. And we're coming up against
Here in
our
Bugly.
second creature.
It looks
of
a
the
bit
game here,
smoother
which is
than
a
the
larger
Wii version.
Of that bulldog.
Yeah, I mean, I hope
creature.
they did, but I
And
can't really tell.
as I creep around here before waking them up,
I'm curious to see
I did wanna
side-by-side
point out another one of the
comparisons
fun features of the game
later
which is
on.
the in-game camera. At any time, you can push the minus button to pause.
I have noticed.
And,
Okay.
kind of
Okay.
just
I was
see the
waiting for
world
this.
from your explorer's eyes, which is that pint-sized
I love this
view.
mode.
So we've got this Pikmin's just looking at
It's
me.
so
waiting for
cool
his
seeing
next
everything
door.
so close up like this.
Hey, buddy. But it's a fun way to take pictures on your journey, as well as almost feel like you're kind of on this nature
Okay.
safari.
I don't think this will be an issue.
While this enemy is sleeping, instead of
'Cause
tossing
in
my
the-
Pikmin one at a time, I'm
on the
gonna
Wii
use
U
a different
version,
feature,
the
which is
gamepad
called
had a lot of
Charge,
these
which
features
if you lock
on the
and
gamepad.
press
You
the X
have to
button,
refer
will
to the
send them
gamepad
all of your
use those
Pikmin in your
features.
squad at the
This
creature or object
is sort
at
of
once.
combining all of those elements in
And that
one.
can be very useful if you've got a
and that I-
large
that I
squad
actually
you're
kind of
wanting
appreciate.
to take an
I-
order all at one time. So
I don't consider
you
myself a
can
Wii U
use
hater,
that
but
on the walls as well.
I'm
for
not
example.
sure that
And you
having to
mentioned
look
that you just
between
used
one
that feature a
screen and
couple
another
times. I do want to point
was
that out. 'Cause
always
I really,
the
really
best
like that
way
feature, which is the
to
lock
play
on
games.
feature. If you're familiar with the
So I
Pikmin
actually
games,
kind of like that.
you'll
It
kind of
looks like
remember
they're,
that there
because
was
it's
no
on
lock
Switch,
on
it kind of
feature.
said
You
like
had to
put
kind of
everything in
aim,
one
kind of
place.
do it. But by tapping the ZR button
might
a couple
prefer
times, you can
that.
cycle through targetable items on the screen. And so it can make kind of tossing and moving your Explorer a lot faster just by kind of hot swapping between different lock-on targets. So I really dig that.
Yeah, and I think the cycling through the different objects and enemies is the thing that really helps me when there are multiple objects or you're in a tight space. So we're coming across Brittany. We're getting a little bit closer to her. We are seeing that fortunately she's okay. The crash landing just made her take a little bit of a nap, and she needs to be rescued now. She's kind of still trapped in here.
But yeah, Rob, I think even though I can't really see any major visual changes, the game still looks good, and it still holds up pretty well.
Fortunately, we as
Say
the
for like
players can see
some
the
blurry
subtitles
textures and
there.
things of that nature,
Very cute.
and like you can see some jaggies. Like otherwise, the game still looks great.
All right, so Brittany noticed that there was some fruit nearby, which we will see just as we round the corner. A strawberry, which looks much larger in this world to us because we, as the Explorer and the Pikmin, are so tiny. And because my Explorer cannot jump, the only way to reach this
I love
island is
Nintendo.
actually by tossing Pikmin near the strawberry. So you see that number 3 on the bottom.
I wish
That
there was
indicates
I wish there was a
that
Nintendo
the
Land
minimum
sequel.
number of Pikmin required to move the object is 3, but you can throw a few more if you want the object to move a little bit faster. And they will know instinctively, the Pikmin, to bring that back to the base. So I can leave them on their own, and they'll get it back there. And as we're trying to continue on and rescue Brittany, we need to get past this wall, but we're finding that this wall, red Pikmin can't break down. And so another new feature that I wanted to showcase here is these optional hints that have been added. So if a newer player got stuck or just wanted to know what to do next, you can push
I like that it's optional.
on the plus control
That's my
pad,
favorite part about
and
it.
that's going to show some hints. And then even in addition, some
Oh, that's
arrows
neat.
on the ground
Oh, look at
just
that.
to let you know where to go.
I like
So
that.
It's guiding me to a
Even if I'm
nearby
not going to
cave
do that,
here
I like that
to
it's there.
maybe find what we need to progress the story.
And at the top of the screen, you'll notice that kind of sun meter kind of crawling across from left to right across the top of the screen. And that kind of indicates how much time, Corey has to get through his tasks because, well, let's just say nighttime is not very nice to Pikmin. You want to make sure you get them out of there before sundown. And, that actually ties into the hints also. So if this is the first time for you playing the game, if you really just want to make the most out of your day and you want something, some kind of hint, feel free to use them. And just it'll help you kind of explore different ways and different methods that maybe you weren't aware of yet. So definitely use it.
And after defeating this enemy, we discovered that there were a new type of Pikmin that were actually inside that creature. These are rock Pikmin. And we didn't go into detail earlier, but each Pikmin type will have their own specialties. So we're learning here that rock Pikmin have the ability to break sort of these hard crystals or glass, which red Pikmin would not.
I might be missing something, but
later
I think
on you'll see that blue Pikmin are
the
the
lock-on
only Pikmin
is
that can
optional.
go in the water. So, all right. So now that we've got that enemy defeated, I would like to
yeah, you can play.
basically
Yeah,
sprout
earlier
a
they
few
showed
more rock
the
Pikmin So I'm going
Wii
to
U
ask those rock
controls,
Pikmin to
basically.
bring it back
And then
to
they
the
switch
onion,
to
and we will
gyro
pluck some more rock
controls,
Pikmin out
so you could
before
get the
we
pointer
continue
controls.
our adventure. And again, one of those memos that pop up letting you know.
Going back to the
tip.
Wii U
I love the
Gamepad, I'll say that
adorable kind of 2D artwork on those as well.
one interesting thing that we
All
never
right, so we've got our
really
rock
got to
Pikmin.
see
We've got our red Pikmin. I feel confident
was the
we can
Gamepad
head
integration
out of
for
this
Breath of the
cave
Wild.
now. Oops.
because they sort of
Reorient
shifted
myself
things
there.
in development
There we go.
because they decided to make the Switch version as well. It would have been nice to see, to some extent, a dedicated Wii U
This
Zelda,
wall that we could not break down
because they might have
earlier.
done some interesting
Again,
things
if
with
I
the Gamepad.
try to
I know they
throw
were
red Pikmin,
they
we'll
were
see that
exploring
nothing really
ideas with that, and
happens,
they didn't
but
go
if I
all
push
the way
L
because of the
button,
Switch version.
I swapped between Pikmin types and can now throw rocks Pikmin, and we're seeing them break down the wall. Using my whistle to
Hooray,
gather
Virtual
my
School
Pikmin
Benjamin.
back. And Brittany, finally we found you. Let's get you out of there. Let's break down this glass wall as well.
Yeah, Rob, all of this is stuff we've seen before. Like, I like the new HUD elements. I like the little tip system. Like, that's nice, but it's still ultimately the same game. Which is why I hope they give us a little taste of the
She is
Olimar
super
missions
happy
that
to
come
no longer be
afterwards.
confined. So now that they've
A taste.
reunited
I'm not expecting
here,
a lot, but a taste of it.
I'm able to use both Brittany and Alf at the same time. And the first kind of way that the game will teach you, it's not just for, I guess, aesthetics that you can have multiple party members, but it actually comes in handy from a strategy perspective. So having Brittany, you can toss her over a gap, toss her some Pikmin, and then at any moment while you're playing, you can push the Y button and switch to Brittany. And then we're going to see that she's able to, since she's on a higher elevation, throw some Pikmin up to reach that lemon. And if I were on a lower elevation, I'm going to whistle really quickly once they get this lemon down.
Patrick
we would see
Karpinski.
that if I tried to throw red
Opinions.
Pikmin that high, they would not be able to reach.
That's all
that
I have
high.
to say
So,
to that.
there are points throughout the game where you will need to split up your squad and maybe throw one over a gap or over water. But since we do have two explorers now in the game, both Alf and Brittany, JC, I thought it could be a good time to for you to hop in.
Patrick, but there is
with Pikmin
new
3
content
Deluxe,
that's
it
been
is the first time
confirmed.
that
They're
two
just not
people
showing
can
it
play
right now.
the story mode together. At any time, you can just pause. Go
It
to
has
play
all the
co-op,
combined
and,
DLC,
JC,
and it
you wanna hop in?
has
Absolutely.
Olimar and I want to say
So
they
we'll
have this
see
one
the
Olimar
screen
missions,
now becomes
like an
split
epilogue
with me
story.
on the left, JC on the right. JC doesn't have any Pikmin right now, so
I'm
he
lonely,
can't
give
really
me
do
some.
much on his own. So I'm going to throw some red Pikmin your way.
My only
And
real
you'll just have
criticism
to
is just
whistle
I
at them and
wish they
they'll
kind
be
of
in
cleaned
your
up the
party.
textures.
Appreciate that.
And I'm going to keep charge of these rock Pikmin, and let's just keep making our way forward. There's some creatures up here that are carrying crystals, which can be a little dangerous to the red Pikmin, so let me take these guys out before the red Pikmin squad comes in. All right,
Appreciate that.
they are gone. So,
So
I'm gonna,
I'll take these bridge tiles over here and start building because there's a bridge. So I'll start doing this.
okay. There is a bridge we found, and JC is going to get one side, and I found some bridge tiles on the left that need to be carried back, but it was in a sort of crystal, so I used my
Yeah, the
rock
co-op's
Pikmin
going to be
there.
fun.
And we're kind of seeing some teamwork here. JC
And we're seeing
is
it right
using
now.
his squad to do a different task than me, which is, again, we're making the most of our time, and it's fun working together. So I'm going to, looks like I've got 7 more bridge tiles to go, and we will have this bridge completed. Come on, rock Pikmin.
And I did time that appropriately to make sure that I wanted the red one. So I get more
All right.
red Pikmin.
So our bridge should be done now almost. Looks like they've got it. Final piece is in place, and
There we go.
all right. So
Hey,
now that
actually,
we've got the bridge, I'm just going to
just kinda thinking
to
about
make
it.
sure I've got all of the
I
kinda
think
idle
it
Pikmin
could be
in my
pretty
party.
fun
and actually,
I'm taking
to
some.
play this game in co-op. Like,
okay,
just
good.
thinking
You
about
threw
it,
some
like,
Pikmin on
you'll
some
be able to get
enemies
more
and
done.
some, yeah,
Like, there's already a system in place
food,
to
some
use
pellets
multiple
that we can bring
characters.
back. And as we make our way
But
back,
You're only one
you're
person.
going to notice
in
that
Pikmin
we're
3
actually back
Deluxe,
where we
right?
started. So we built a
for the
bridge,
main
sort of
campaign,
a
but if
shortcut
you play
now
with a
back to the
friend,
starting point.
you can,
I'll go
you know,
ahead and grab these
focus
red
on
Pikmin since
your
they're just
objectives while they
standing there,
focus on theirs, and
and
you guys can get more
we're finding a
done
new
together.
wall that we couldn't actually break down earlier when we first started. So
Like, if
since
you're
I
really
found
good, you
rock
can still
Pikmin,
switch between them pretty
I'm
quickly,
going
but
to throw them at this wall.
I kind of like just focusing on one, but having that team option as well.
And we didn't talk too much about this earlier, but any piece of fruit that you saw, we got the strawberry earlier. You'll want to bring that back to your base, and the more fruit you collect, the more days you're going to be able to explore this world. So that's how fruit plays a role in the game's story mode. Brittany here is noticing that we got a new radar kind of detection from elsewhere on the map, so she's recommending we go check it out. There's another tip letting us know that red Pikmin are fire resistant.
Looks so defiant in the face of fire. Look at that. I
Right.
just kind of enjoy it. Okay, I'm gonna take
So
out this
some
enemy
Some
here.
new
It's breathing
creatures
fire.
here. All right. Oh, and I did not listen to that warning, but my rock Pikmin's lit up like a birthday candle, and he's freaking out. Similar to Pikmin, if they're drowning, as long as you whistle at a Pikmin in peril,
Rob, you know what would have
as
been
long
cool
as it's in
if
time,
they added
they'll come running back
support
to
to the Switch,
you, and they will.
where you could pair or sync
they'll
a
be
Wii U
okay.
gamepad to your Switch
Here
to
it's
use
just
that
letting us know that we
functionality.
found some bridge
Granted,
materials,
I
but
guess
this
the
time
issue with
it's
that
on
is it
the
requires
opposite
additional
side of the
horsepower,
water, so
in
there's
programming,
going to be a
but
little bit more complications.
in a perfect
order
world,
to
it would have
get
been
those bridge
nice.
pieces. All right.
Taking this.
I also have some red Pikmin in my party, so rather than continuing to burn my rock Pikmin, I'm going to try to use my red Pikmin as well. Oh, thank you. Teamwork.
I got you.
Nice. All right, so
There you go.
those enemies have been
Yeah,
felled.
cell phone support.
All
That'd be
right,
interesting.
So
I mean,
at this point,
they have
there is the bridge that we cannot cross on the
the
left.
whole
JC, if you
online
kind of
chat
come
app
up
that
to
you
where
have on your
I'm at,
phone.
I'm going to hold down the Y button,
Well, I
which
think
will
the
allow
execution
you
was
to
terrible.
join my party.
I
And then
kind of like
can
the
toss you
concept
over
of
the water.
integrating your
And I
phone
can
with your
also
Switch and
throw
doing
some
things
rock
with it.
Pikmin over to you, because I think you're going to need some rock and some red.
Thank you.
And
Oh,
while
Pikmin
you work
riches.
on that bridge, I'll just hang out.
Sweet. Ooh, yes. Found him.
Oh, nice. We used the
Um,
charge feature. Wow.
Brandon, I
I'm
was
impatient.
referring to the possibility, or lack thereof,
While you're doing that, I'm just going to have
of
a little bit
Nintendo
of fun. And one of my other
offering
favorite
a
features
software
of the
update
game.
to
We showed
Switch's
a little bit
firmware,
earlier, but that camera,
where you could
I really
sync
like it.
your Wii U
from
gamepad
that
to your
pint-sized
Switch.
perspective. Oh, there's our enemy,
But-
which is defeated. But
Because the
We can
Wii is
also
like
see
built
our-
around using that. It
some Pikmin
requires
hanging
additional
out.
horsepower and stuff. I don't
do some
think
autofocus.
it would
Oh,
actually
wow.
be
They're just waiting
possible.
for you to get your job done,
but-
lounging.
That's what I was referring
They
to.
need direction. They need guidance. They need love and support and all the other things.
I love taking photos. Okay, back to work. You guys, finish
Okay.
your bridge.
Yeah, I think my folks are done on my side.
First
so we're good.
Splatoon
Actually,
with
the one
the
other
Nintendo
mode
app, I did
one other feature I
I
wanted
did,
to showcase briefly is another
like,
new
get some
feature to
clothes
Pikmin
that
3
way,
Deluxe, which is called
which was
the
neat.
Piclopedia.
But
And
also
here,
you could argue,
any creatures
not
that you
just
come
put that in
across
the
in the
main
game
game,
will get their own
know?
entries, and you can once you go in, you can tap on it and see different entries from different explorers in your party. So we've got Alf here. That's commenting on this dwarf bulborb.
Is
We've
this
got
new?
Brittany, we can see her comments as well. There are spaces for 3 additional explorers notes, so you can imagine that there will be some other fun notes to read about as well. But I find that it's really fascinating to come in because each explorer has their own take on how they talk about the enemies and creatures you come across. So
This is cool.
so yeah, that is
This-
probably enough
like that.
story mode for now.
Even if the
um,
information was available
I'll
in
go
the previous
ahead
game,
and pause the game.
having
and
it organized
let's
like
switch
that
over
looks
to
nice.
another brand new feature to Pikmin 3 Deluxe called Side Stories. These are some elements where you'll be able to see what Captain Olimar and Louie got up to prior to the main story of Pikmin 3.
Mm-hmm. Oh, before I forget, let's also
Oh.
talk about. I remember we mentioned the whole
are they
the
doing
sun kind of passing over, and they have a certain limited amount of time in the day. For those people, there's actually a much more difficult mode for you. So, you want to talk about that, Corey?
Yeah, there are 3 difficulty modes in story in Pikmin 3 Deluxe. There's normal, hard, and there is even an ultra spicy
Ultra
difficulty
spicy.
setting, which gives you only 60 Pikmin can be in the field at once. as well as some additional challenging elements. So for those that are familiar with Pikmin 3 or want a much bigger challenge, that'll be right up your alley.
That sounds awesome.
But yeah, for now, let's hop into a sneak peek of
Ultra
side
spicy
stories,
mode.
which I mentioned feature Captain Olimar prior to the happenings
Ultra
of the
spicy
main
mode's a
story.
big deal for me.
And we're gonna see Olimar.
I love
here
ultra
facing
spicy.
the camera. Sort of the background of this is that Captain Olimar, the company he works for, is in
Yes,
debt
I enjoy
yet
my
again
pain and
back
suffering
on
in
his home
games.
planet, and his boss is sending him here looking
And here's
for
that
treasure to help
new
the company
content we
get out
wanted
of
to
debt.
see.
Olimar is a very loyal worker and will go to great lengths to make his boss and employer happy. So good for Olimar here. Of course, Captain Olimar was in Pikmin 1 and
Okay, I think I'm getting the
original
game now.
Pikmin and Pikmin 2,
Ultra spicy
as well
mode. That's
as
it.
Louis, who was his
Getting it.
partner in Pikmin 2. Maybe a little bit less competent than Captain Olimar, who you can see here, but still a very key member of Olimar's team.
Well, and he's got his charm. Louis got charm.
Yeah, no, Louis great. We love Louis. But let's see here. All right, the objective of this mission is actually going to be different from the story mode we were playing earlier, because now the goal is just to collect as much treasure as we can in 12 minutes. And JC, of course, we've got you in here split screen right now, but for the moment, we'll just switch it back to solo play. For
HUD elements that have been improved upon.
I still do get to control both explorers, so I can still get Olimar
And these
in my
extra
party.
missions
I can
here
also call
with all the
yellow
DLC they're
Pikmin,
never bothered
which
with.
we're seeing for the first time in this demo over.
I think I'm
and
sold,
we'll see a little
guys.
bit of their specialties. So we've got this electrified fence where if I throw a red Pikmin at it, we'll see them get a little bit electrocuted. But the yellow Pikmin are immune. They can be thrown at an electric fence, and they can start destroying it. So we will leave Louis there to
my
keep an
biggest
eye
challenge
on
is
our
just
yellow
having
Pikmin
time.
while we take our red Pikmin.
I still haven't
into
finished Xenoblade
the rest of the
Definitive
map.
Edition.
And
I need to.
we
I'm
saw
close
this
to the end, but I have
creature
to
a
do
second
Future
ago and
Connected.
learned that
And
he's
then
got
I want a
fire.
100% 3D
fire
All-Stars.
breathing, but knowing
That's
that
gonna
we've
take
got
me a
our
little
red
bit.
Pikmin with us, we're not worried about fire.
And then if I get this game, that's
even
going
if
to
they
take some
get
time.
shaken off,
And
which
obviously
this
I'm going to play a lot of Hyrule
creature
Warriors
is
when that comes out.
Queuing. We
I
can
did
just
finish
do
Paper
some
Mario
charging,
though,
actually, out
so
of
you know
it.
I have been. I've gotten some
Very
work
nice.
done
Nice.
with my
And
games.
since the Pikmin were nearby
But
when he was defeated,
I
they're
also,
just automatically
I'll
going
probably have to
bring
wait a
him
little
back, which
while,
I will let
but
them do.
I do want to get Demon Souls
and we
on
found some
PS5.
wild Pikmin and blue Pikmin.
But
in the
I'll
wild
probably
here,
wait
so
a
we'll just
little
call
bit
them.
later, maybe
But
December
before
or
we
January.
hop in this water here, I'm going
we'll
to
see.
swap back to Louis to see what he's up to, and he's just plucking Pikmin and keeping an eye on those yellow Pikmin. So, all right, let's take our blue Pikmin into the water. Again, blue Pikmin are the only Pikmin that can survive in the water. We found a creature in here that's a little bit hard to see, but he's under the water here. You can see that pie chart slowly starting to disappear. And this number 5 is actually the amount of gold treasure, gold nuggets here. As the Pikmin take this treasure back to the base, we're going to see in our upper left the currency start to increase, which are Pocos, which is the currency of Olimar and Louis' home planet. So that is my objective, to bring back as much treasure as we can. Looks like the yellow fence is almost done, but not quite. So we will... we lost some Pikmin somewhere.
Yeah,
What
Pikmin 3
happened?
Deluxe
Oh, no.
is the opener for the show, and then Hyrule
That
Warriors is
sound
going to be the closer.
I was not as smart as I could have been, and I lost some Pikmin because there's this
But I'm
creature
now
down
pretty
here
sold
that
in this
is
game.
electric,
It's really just a matter of time for me.
that I believe either electrocuted my blue Pikmin or maybe ate them. But
I'll say is I have
maybe both.
vacation coming
Yeah,
up.
maybe both, yeah.
I'm going to do a fair bit of traveling
I
during
can still
vacation.
throw blue Pikmin at him, but once he
so
starts
I'll
to
probably
generate electricity,
have a
you
lot
won't
of
get away.
time to finish
all
Xenoblade
right.
and
I
3D
think
All
we've got
Stars.
him. The blue
during that
Pikmin-
time.
All right, they're bringing him back.
I also want to
Great.
pick up Ori.
Let's head back here with him. Actually, Louis got control of that. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to take control of Olimar.
Yeah,
Maybe
Demon Souls
Olimar can
starts
find
off
some
as
more
ultra
Pikmin
extra
on the
spicy.
stage.
You know, I
So-
also noticed that you're walking by a couple of different fruit and stuff like that, and I also want to point out
Pluck these.
the different ways you can kind of think about a map. Because, from my perspective, if you have a large number of Pikmin, that really is a defining factor of how much you can grab, because a large piece of fruit or a large item that requires a lot, if it's farther away from your base, you're not only going to need to have the number to carry that item, but if you find something on the way back, you're going to need enough to, like, if you want spur of the moment just to go pick it up, you're going to need to also have enough Pikmin to pick up that item as well. So I always try to memorize, like, where items are, what did I see, where did I pass it, is there anything else en route that I could probably take the next time I come back. And so it also creates a really interesting kind of play mechanic where I'm kind of thinking about how could I do this better, right? It's like I did it in this order
like
last
the arrow.
time. I'm gonna try this.
Seeing the arrow for the charge. I don't remember. I don't think that.
And I know I can get more out of it. I know I
that
missed
seems
out.
pretty new to me.
So lots of replay value here.
And I can already tell you, replay value, I've already made multiple mistakes that I would not have wanted to do, such as losing those blue Pikmin early. So if I played this again, there would have been things I would have done differently. But while I've got
Brandon,
these Pikmin bringing back
it wouldn't be
switch
Demon
back
or
to
Dark
Lou
Souls
here,
if it was easy.
just to make sure that I'm always.
If it had that
I
option.
always want to have my. Pikmin
I get
doing
what you mean.
something,
Like,
in this mode, because again, you want to create.
I don't
that
see
high
why they
score.
couldn't, but I
Get
don't.
as much
Not
treasure
mad
as
at
you
them for
can.
not doing it.
So, all right, we've got this gold nuggets going, and looks like these Pikmin are still working on the grapes. Keep an eye on them. All right, let's go back to base, because there might just be some idle Pikmin at base waiting for their next order, which there are. Let's take them out for their next adventure.
Give them purpose, Corey.
Ooh, and pluck some more Pikmin. All right, while they're plucking. While Pikmin are being plucked, it's always a good idea to switch to your other explorer. All right. Because you can't, while they're being plucked, there's not really much else that those guys can be doing. So, all right. Got another creature here whose weakness is actually on his back.
From behind.
Because he's got this shell on the front. Let's see if we can just charge. Oh no.
That didn't go as planned.
Oh no.
No!
No,
Red
let's just get away from
Pikmin!
that.
Oh man, that
Not all
sound.
Pikmin, not all creatures
Did you
are
see what
actually
just
small,
happened?
though, even though we bailed out of that
He got
battle.
skewered through the
and that creature was
chest by a
quite small.
giant
There are some
monster.
creatures that are much more intimidating and large that you'll come across. This one included, which, yeah, let's get away from those guys. I've collected 327 Pokos or gold so far. This is probably a good point to end for now. I don't want to spoil too much of these side stories. But yeah, let's end here for now. But we've got one more mode that we wanted to showcase.
One more thing to show
which
off.
is completely different from anything we've shown so far.
Completely
and it
different.
Is a one-on-one competitive mode called Bingo Battle.
Okay.
Yeah, so Bingo Battle, is definitely one of, I think, our favorite modes in the Treehouse, because it gets really, really heated. You'll see in a second. And the objective of Bingo Battle really is to fill out your bingo card. I'm going to be on the right side, Cora will be on the left. And of course, if you're familiar with bingo, all you have to do is just make a line. It could be vertical, horizontal, diagonal, any kind of line. And to fill out each of those little spaces, you have to collect either an item or an enemy to fill in
another
that
reason why I
space.
should get
Sometimes
Pikmin
there's
3
multiple
Deluxe,
of an item.
because
Sometimes there's not.
on the Wii U
But
version,
if
I
you take
pretty
a
much
look at
only
the two
touched the
cards in the
campaign.
bottom and the middle,
Never got around to
you'll
any of
notice
the
that
rest.
there are the same items, but they are placed
So this is
differently
new to me.
on each of our bingo cards. And I'm not as good at this mode as Corey, so I'm going to focus a little bit, craft my strategy of what I want to focus on first, and
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about what's going on right now, since we start with only 5 Pikmin by default.
Oh,
Of
okay,
course, we
I
can
think I
customize
understand.
that, but because we start
See,
with 5,
you have to get
you're
what's
going to want to create
on the map,
a larger
like
Pikmin
with the
squad
grids
as
you have at the
quickly as you
bottom there.
can, because the more Pikmin that you have in your squad, the more that you're able to accomplish. And the more that you're able to divide tasks, if you
Interesting.
need to divide tasks.
Ooh,
like
this is. I
building
see
a
how this
bridge
would be
or,
fun.
sending some to one area and some to another.
Whoa.
JC pushed the minus button there to pull up the map, which either player can do. If you're ever not sure where a specific item on the bingo board that you want to collect is, it's simple as pulling up that map to say, oh, I need to get an orange. Then where's the orange on the map? I'm going to go get that because that's what I need to complete my bingo card. I think what you're going to see JC and I doing first is both growing our squads, and then you see that we both got bridge tiles on the sides of our map as well. So we've been collecting some of those bridge tiles to build a bridge so we can cross the water.
And there's a lot of deep strategy in here too. While Corey's talking, I'm actually thinking about a couple things. Like, for example,
I like
taking
the
a look
boot.
at the bingo card that I have and actually targeting the corners. If I target the corners, which I probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but you wouldn't normally. If you target corners, that means you have with one item, you're able to get like a horizontal, vertical, and diagonal line all at the same time.
Sure.
Have there been any hints
absolutely.
of online
Just-
play?
oh,
I feel
what?
like
I
the
went
into my
answer is
base.
no.
Oh, JC. So that is a good point to show that, yeah,
It would
you
be
can
huge,
go into each
but I
other's
just
bases.
don't
And
see
JC
them
threw
doing
some
that
Pikmin
because
towards me,
it's
which started,
Nintendo.
they kind of just start like thwacking at my head, which is really annoying, but very effective, and I have to use the control stick to shake them off. My Pikmin can defeat JC's Pikmin, which is nice, but if our Pikmin do encounter each other, they will want to...
I just saw one of my Pikmin get slapped by yours, and
oh, did they fight each other a little
yeah,
bit?
actually it's on me now. But
Ah.
don't worry, the songs will be sung of you, my friend.
Yeah, so I never
Okay.
tried this mode,
Yeah, that's
but
right.
I
get it.
I
Go get it.
very much like what I'm seeing.
Let's,
Yeah.
I see that
numbers.
JC has an item actually.
I
from
should have
the
tried
roulette.
it. I should have,
Yeah,
but you know what?
which is
The other
a,
thing is that I didn't really.
Triple rocks, which
have
he
anyone
is
to play
able
with.
use and drop on me, so I actually have to be really careful here.
I'm being very quiet.
I have a
about it.
roommate who probably would play.
And
with
now
me.
he's just all right. He pointed it out, so that's fine.
Maybe.
Okay. Gotta move. Gotta think. Okay.
And again, yeah, you do want to sometimes be aware of what your opponent's up to in this.
Now, if there was online, wouldn't matter.
That's fine. Okay.
because they can be.
I'd probably be able
JC
to find
can get
someone to
pretty
play with
crafty
me.
at times.
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna take a little detour here, and I'm gonna start
Okay. I'm not
strategizing by pulling some of these Pikmin I
guy.
found that
Yeah,
are
yeah.
my color, but they are in the water. So now I'm gonna
Absolutely,
try. And,
Brandon. Absolutely, Bob. Their
and get some
online
of
is
these.
needed.
I'm gonna grab these blue ones.
I know. Let's get you in the water. Yeah. Oh. I tried to lure your red Pikmin in the water.
No.
See if they would follow
Stay
me.
away from my babies.
Evil tadpoles.
Need some cherries.
I'll take care of that. That's fine.
So this is the first
Who
time
you
I'm
got-
finding
who's
a
gonna win,
cherry
guys?
which,
That's
Left
fine.
side or
again,
right
these
side?
cherries give me
Sorry.
a free spin on the item roulette, which can often change the tides of battle. So I'm wanting to get as many of these cherries as possible. Back to my base.
Hmm.
All right, I've got a rock. So my
Hmm.
cherry got me a free
Oh, this is
bomb
actually
rock,
not good.
which I can throw a Pikmin at this rock.
I think I like the
Now
left
I've
side
got
winning
a
this.
rock, a bomb rock, basically. So if I throw that bomb rock at a... Let's just throw it in an enemy right now. Oh, he woke up and got out of there. Oh, man, that was kind of a waste.
Let me see if I can actually get
We can use electricity
Oh,
to just sort
jerk.
of be annoying to JC
Wow.
there and temporarily disable
Okay.
him. Another item that I picked up through that I got from my cherry is sort of a free spin on the item roulette, which is
Brandon, you're saying
this
it's not the end of the
golden,
world that's not this game, but I
object,
do
which if
feel
I
that
use
Nintendo
it
could
will
sell more
fill up
copies
a
of things they had
spot
on
on my
co-op.
bingo card.
Like imagine
randomly,
Mario Party with online.
which looked like was an apple.
Oh no, it's the water. It's the water. It's the water. No.
All right.
Okay. I think
Guys in the chat, I'll also say that the golden rule
I need to
Leave him
find a different way
alone.
around. this,
with trolls is to ignore.
Okay.
But I mean,
So
it's
I
also
need
fun
two-
to engage sometimes.
I see the line that I want, but I'm. Oh no! That was a
Ah.
direct hit. Oh my gosh! You got me at like the
Oh my
right time. I have
God.
one.
Oh, I was
I have
staring at your
one
screen.
picture.
I'm
He
sorry.
killed his entire fleet,
I'm down to one single Pikmin.
but the one
If I
blue
win this map-
Pikmin.
Oh man.
Oh
JC
man,
will never live it down.
that
Oh,
could
dude, yeah, if
swing
I
things
won't.
in his favor.
You got me
I
sleeping,
won't.
and
He still has
I
cherries
have
left,
one
too.
Pikmin. I
Let's
wish
see if I can actually just.
I had.
Oh,
more
Oh,
than
maybe
one.
right side is
I
gonna
need-
win.
Dude, these
to
guys are
get
gonna
more
get so
Pikmin.
eaten.
Oh man.
If I get distracted, maybe. Let it toss. It's fine.
I just.
Oh, it's still shaking so much. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh! Come on! I need a cherry.
Okay,
So,
dude, if I could just pick
They
up
need to
where
get
was
something
that?
in a row, right? That's how bingo
shouldn't be
works.
checking this
They
right
need to
now,
get
but-
4 in a row.
That's right. All the enemies actually show up as those green green flashing dots.
So-
I'm actually trying to find this
There we go.
guy.
Okay.
No matter how you look at it, both are
It's a
still
long-
2 away.
A long, long battle.
I guess
Go, go, go.
the real advantage that Red has right now
Me and my buddy.
is
You're my boy,
My
Blue.
that he has 3
Did we just say
cherries,
blue at
which
the
you
same
can
time?
use to get the power-ups that can affect your opponent. Is
Oh, that
right?
was exactly what I needed. Okay. So the item that I just got was a 10 free Pikmin, basically, which sprout at my base.
Come on. Come on, this will work. This will work.
But I need
Tension's
way more.
rising.
JC looks like he just needs the
Uh-oh.
red Bulborb and
He's
the
gonna fall
red
within
Marble,
one.
which are both
You mean
en
like these
route.
two?
Oh, he
Yes.
won. That's it.
And I don't think I'm gonna have enough Pikmin to.
Oh, please
Get
tell me
you.
this is happening.
Nice.
That's it.
Oh, this is so good. Oh, my
JC
palms are
got
sweaty.
it.
Red side
so
takes the
excited.
W. How about
So
that?
good.
So what was I think from my perspective, what really turned the tides there is I was about to defeat both Bulborbs that I needed, but that rock came down at just the inopportune moment, and I had just kind of forgotten that JC still had that item. So
Yeah, I
well
was actually-
done. You used it at exactly the right time.
That feels so
timing.
good, guys. Okay.
JC feels way too good right now, so we're going to play one more game. This one is going to be over in probably 2 minutes because I have way more incentive now to not take it easy. I'm not saying I was taking it easy last time, but
that felt so good.
this
Oh my
is a
gosh.
much smaller stage, so JC and I are
Faster
probably going
pace.
to
Okay.
come to a skirmish much quicker than we did in the last game. So there's really less of an opportunity to make mistakes here. There's also just a lot of, again, the
Okay.
map is small, so we want to be
So he's
acting
focused on
very
building his
quickly
resources.
with our moves.
Blue.
Yep. And Corey, again, because Corey pointed out that the map is really small, you're probably going to see us get into some pretty heated.
Yeah, the
pretty heated battles real quick.
only thing in between us is that really this orange Bulborb enemy that you kind of see here that's sort of harassing me at my base right now. So other than that, we can just sort of waltz into each
Yeah,
other's
Tigger. They
bases.
showed new content, and
Which scares
as
me.
Brandon
because
and Benjamin pointed out,
we're so
it was
close.
just a taste, as
Right.
I was sort of expecting, hoping. Because I don't want to be spoiled on it, but it was new content. It was there. They just
Oh,
went
it's a
out
big
of it
one.
real
I didn't
quick.
see it. Oh, run.
Oh, man.
No. No, this is bad. This is bad. All bad. So many. The sound of dying Pikmin. Okay. So I need to be smart about this here. Let's just do this. Okay. So I'll take that back. Get some
Blue's got a
numbers.
lot
Some
of things on the board.
Use the charge. Let's see
Oh
what
man,
else we
these
can get.
Bulborbs
Still-
are just hungry.
No
and
matter what, still 2
wow,
away.
I do not like that they're on my side of the map right now. It's almost as if you sent them over
Hmm.
here, but I know you didn't.
I did not. Speaking of sending things over. You. Oh my gosh!
So it's
Oh,
only nice
no.
to
Meteor
give gifts
shower.
that I gave JC the gift of the same bomb
he-
rocks that
he
sent
killed
me
them.
earlier.
Oh, okay, you gotta be careful about that then.
I wonder if that actually worked out in my favor, because at least he's not seeing that I'm actually trying to steal one of the only things on the map that exists, which is a golden strawberry.
Nope, not
No,
seeing
no,
it
no, no,
totally
no,
at
no,
all.
no, no,
I have
you
no
are-
idea what you're doing.
No, that's
Were
hold
you
on.
doing
Cancel the block.
something?
Nope,
Huh.
we're good.
Golden strawberry, you said?
No, mine. I have numbers.
The battle for the strawberry.
No.
Blue's-
So
Why
all I
are
need
you
now is a
going-
red strawberry, which
Blue's in-
it
in
looks like
control.
is right behind my base. And so as long as our... Oh, wow. Yeah, so I
Fight.
can give up. I don't need to worry about the golden strawberry.
Yeah, you know
because
what, Brandon? I'm
I've
not
got
even
mine.
Got the other one.
necessarily
Ah,
that upset
red,
about the visual stuff, I
delicious
guess, because there's a
sunseed
lot
berry
of
for the quick bingo.
quality
I
of
think that
life
was a little over
changes,
2 minutes.
and
so.
That
there's
was
new
a little,
content
that was
here.
a that was a speed. That was like a mercy
I
win.
don't know,
right
the game
there.
looks
It
pretty
gets
fun to
really
me.
competitive playing
Oh.
bingo battle.
And ultra
as you
spicy
can see
mode.
from a little bit of a taste, we absolutely love this mode. But really, all the modes offer a little bit of a different type of gameplay. So we hope you're looking forward to checking
Well,
out
we're
Pikmin 3
we're
Deluxe.
Hyrule Warriors is
Be on the
coming now,
lookout
guys.
for a
Here it
eShop
comes.
demo that will include save data transfer to the full game. And if you complete the eShop demo, defeat the last boss in the demo, you'll be able to start the full game with ultra spicy mode if you'd like that extra challenge. So again, thanks for checking out a little bit of Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Don't forget the game
Yep.
itself comes out on October 30th.
The demo.
Awesome. Thanks, Corey.
I'll play
Again,
the
really
demo
appreciate
later,
it. Thanks for letting me have that one win, because that does not happen often. And again, I can't wait to play some more Bingo Battle with you, in October. So, coming up next, obviously, is I'm waiting for this too, which is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. So, over to you, Kay.
Let's go. Let's go.
Thanks, JC. Thanks, Corey. Wow, Pikmin looks like a lot of fun. Hi, everyone. I'm Kay from Nintendo Treehouse, and I've got my colleagues Chico and Kendra here with me.
I love that Urbosa.
Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge that we are
picture
doing this
she's got
remotely. So there might be some technical limitations, but we're asking for your patience and your understanding as we work as hard as we can to bring you an amazing stream. So today we're going to take a look at Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, which takes place 100 years before Breath of the Wild and tells the story of the Great Calamity and the events leading up to it, which really can only be told through the 1 versus 1,000 action of a Warriors game. We'll start off with
gameplay.
A first look at Urbosa.
Let's go.
I'm so excited.
Hence the
Chico, are you ready?
Urbosa picture.
Yes, I am. So
let's get started.
I'm fine. I know. I'm playing as Urbosa right now, as you can see, and I'm actually inside the Deluxe town right now. And then it is a Hyrule Warriors game, so you will be using X and Y button to do weak and strong attack, and then also A. Oh wait, Iga must.
So Zelda's fighting with her
right now.
runes.
The Deluxe town is under attack by Iga clan, but I don't want to talk about why they're here. But the objective is I have to
Story
actually
elements.
defeat all 3 Iga Blade Masters. So to do that, in addition to the usual Hyrule Warriors action, I have to use
There's that stasis.
to counter attack.
Nice.
And I can use, I just use the stasis now, as you can tell. But each character can use all 4 different moves.
Did you see that? It said wall jump.
So I need
You can wall jump.
on attacking him right now. So I'm going
I think I saw something else, too.
Kendra talk about what's unique about Urbosa.
Great, thank you so much, Chico. Yeah, Urbosa's gameplay is really fun and exciting, and as you can see, it's focused on her ability to use an attack with lightning. She has a unique ability to charge up lightning, which is represented by the gauge at the top of the screen.
Oh, she's awesome.
And yep, she's charging it right there. And once it's charged up, she can actually use the lightning in addition to her strong attacks to kind of strengthen those attacks and do some really character-specific stuff with it. She also uses lightning in her weak point counters and in her special attacks. And if Chico can get the timing right, after some of these big attacks where there's still some electricity lingering in the air, she can charge up her electricity super quick, which takes a lot of skill and a lot of timing, but it's very satisfying when you can pull it off.
Okay, so I'm running
And
around.
to
Kieran, you're saying I feel like Zelda will be weak, but towards the end of the game she becomes OP.
And I just wanted to add too.
Yeah, I agree with
aside
Brandon
from
that
the
that's a
gameplay
pretty
that
good
you're
theory.
seeing. Well, first of all,
Makes sense with the story.
Oh wait, no,
Oh my gosh.
interrupting myself.
Confirmation!
There's the Korok.
There it is.
Koroks to be found.
So clearly, Koroks
There are
are
Korok seeds in the game.
But this is the first time that people get to play as Urbosa, which is already super awesome. And this area probably looks pretty familiar to some Breath of the Wild fans.
Yeah.
And it's
the
cool
whole
to
town
see
looks
these
so
places.
great.
So the Korok seed thing's a big deal
Pre-Calamity.
because that to me,
But what I did want to
there's
say
a lot
is
of collectibles to be
fans
found in
can
the
look
levels.
forward to getting more backstory on these characters as well. You really get a good look at Urbosa's relationship to Zelda, and also more information about
That's a
Urbosa's
really good
relationship
point.
to Zelda's late mother. So if you're
That's
like
a
me
lot of
and you
story we're
love to
gonna
get
get
to know
there.
the characters and get to know them in ways that you didn't get to in Breath of the Wild, this game is your opportunity to do that.
Oof.
That's right. It's really, there's a lot to unpack in here and a lot to see, and it's very thrilling for fans of Breath of the Wild to be able to take a look, a more in-depth look at this time in the story.
Oh, Zelda's playing now.
All right, and now we're taking a look at Zelda's
Bomb
gameplay,
bowling.
which is also a first look. Very exciting. As you can see, she
What?
uses the runes as
What
her
is this?
main attacks, in addition to being able to use them just like everyone else. And she can
She's a stasis.
create different
she's just a
combinations
rune
of
master.
runes to take out huge swarms of enemies. Oh my gosh.
Oh, she's done.
In a very unique way. It's
Oh.
it's so cool to see
true Chico
Zelda
fashion.
being able to take out
You gotta
these
move.
guys.
Yeah, and for me, anytime Zelda gets to, you get to
gotta
play
dodge.
as Zelda and
She's like
annihilate
Gohan.
enemies
She
as
doesn't
Zelda,
dodge.
It's pretty much a win for me because Zelda.
Oh, what is
it?
this?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, and she's
Okay.
really fun to play as
Just-
in this one.
camera shot at them to death.
Nice work.
Okay.
Nice work.
I'm just gonna go back to Roboza because she is my favorite.
She's
And
great.
I know Zelda is great, but yeah. Okay, so
Urbosa's
I have
also
to
great.
chase
But
after.
Urbosa.
Yes, definitely.
What is that? Oh man,
I have to chase after.
they're
the
all
Eva
hiding in the. They're all like. You
people.
can still see them,
So
but
I'm gonna go after
that's
that
neat.
to the location I'm told to go.
Oh, those are-
There's-
those are
looks like
just
there's a
moving
lot of people
plants.
here.
Are they trying to get to the
And
hideout?
for people who are new to the Warriors series, as you can see, there are prompts on the screen that help guide you through the
What is
process of
this?
the gameplay
Oh my
and the
god.
action. But you also can turn those off if you want to.
So I'm at this location, and it looks like my objective is to defeat the enemies with loud attack. So I think I need.
With a loud attack. Well, you gotta use your lightning.
Oh, I can't use it right now,
Thunder.
but I will wait till my rune fills up first. But
Make some noise,
okay,
Chico.
so I'm going.
Do
I'll
it.
do that. Hold on. These guys are loud.
I
This
feel
guy's
like there's
really
a
getting in
decent
the
amount
way.
of things you can do in terms of attacks. At least I've
So
seen
as you can see,
a fair bit of variation
when
with
you use the
different
secret room,
attack
there is a
combinations.
little bit of a wait time for it to charge back up before you can use it again, which is very similar to how it worked in Breath of the Wild. Oh man, that was a gorgeous takeout right there. And the
So I
reason
guess I
for
did that.
using these
what's
loud
coming out.
attacks was to call forth a certain familiar monster.
Oh.
And there he is. Oh man.
You sure it's not a lady though?
I think he's beautiful.
Yeah, he's scary.
Molduga.
And he's coming after me, so I don't think I want to do this. Bye-bye.
No, let's
No.
go ahead and
That's
Okay.
it.
let's
Done.
escape to the
No.
main menu while we can.
They're doing this because they're supposed to, not because they want to.
So we're gonna go back
It's
to
like ooh, I love the
the
little
world
sword.
map and show some of the gameplay between battles. Leveling up characters, strengthening weapons,
It's the map.
and unlocking
It's
things.
The map.
There it is. A very familiar map of Hyrule. Chico, do you want to tell us a little bit about
What?
this?
Yeah, so if you ever play, like original Hyrule Warriors game or maybe different Warriors game, you might be familiar with how the menu looked like. You will go from chapter 1 to 3 type thing. But this one, you actually go through different chapters and locations using the map of Hyrule from the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And when I first saw this, I was literally screaming because it was so gorgeous and I just loved it.
So
And because
How
it's a
much-
Hyrule Warriors game, when you're playing the stages, you collect a lot of different type of materials. So using those materials, you can unlock different locations on the map, like the stables, other training
Can you
grounds,
explore this
and
whole thing?
and even like different dishes you can cook type thing. So one of the things I wanted to show is actually here, blacksmith. So it is a
maybe
Hyrule
not.
Warriors game,
No,
so you
right.
will be collecting a lot of different weapons
don't
while you
explore
are in
those.
the stage.
Still really
Not
cool,
like
though.
Breath of the Wild, you don't. The weapons do not break during the stage, but you can use these weapons you collected to strengthen your primary use weapon. So, right now I'm using this sword, but there's other different type of weapons I can get.
I want to see other
and
weapons for
different,
the other characters.
way to use it. So I want to use my sledgehammer, iron sledgehammer, and fuse them with all the materials I got so far.
With the level
And I
1
think I
soup
will-
ladle that you will not neglect. Don't you dare.
Okay, so I mean,
Okay. Whew. I was worried.
I shouldn't. It's okay. It's okay.
No, use it.
Okay, so
Oh, yes, it's
you
okay.
can use up to 5 different weapons, and then you can strengthen.
Use them.
You of course have to use the rupees, so make sure you collect the rupees when you are in the stage 2.
Yeah, I agree.
Now
Brad.
I
They
have
should definitely
my
bring Breath of the Wild 2 to
sledgehammer
be able to
leveled
level
up
up
to 5,
weapons.
so I can use that for next battle if I want to. Another thing is the materials you collected. You can make the dish. So let's see, this one is ready. So spurred fish dish, and you need the materials 5 fish. So I have that trout. So now I love that dish. So I can earn the recipe for chili fish skewer.
Right, and the
Another song.
recipes can be used to give your characters a little bit of a buff before you go into battle. And there are a bunch of
Mhm.
different types that have different effects, so it's pretty fun to collect them and see what they do. Yep,
And
they
then,
also
by
have
defeating the go ahead.
yeah, so by defeating monsters and getting those materials, you can also turn them into these other quests, which you can use to unlock bonus combos or extra health or other such things. But the thing I really
Okay.
like about these is that they have little stories that go along with them, little glimpses into the characters' lives between battles during this war. The one that we just did, for example, is about a young child in Hateno village who wants to build a monster dummy so that they can practice using a two-handed sword. And so Link actually brings the materials to make the dummy, creates this dummy, helps them build it, and then they train together. And that's how Link is able to come up with an extra move for his two-handed sword.
So you can expand upon your moveset
And I love
throughout
it
the
because
game.
Link's from Hateno village.
That's good.
So it's a very cute glimpse into his life.
Yeah, the world building
we
is
know
that?
really excellent in this game.
Wait, did we know that?
Yeah, we just strengthened this 200. I mean, sledgehammer is
Did
basically
you just
a
say
200
Link is
sword
from Hateno
type.
Village? Is that
So
new information?
I'm going into the training mission.
I didn't
where
know that he was
I can
from
actually use
Hateno
this
Village.
sledgehammer to showcase how the two-handed sword or two-handed weapon will work in this game. And so I changed my weapon.
So
and
Link is
I
from
guess I
Hateno
can
Village.
toss that higher.
Yeah. Yeah, you can
I'll get it.
unlock different pieces of armor as you progress through the game, and you can equip or, I guess, unequip them and dress him up however you want.
They look nice.
yeah,
What are you
this is-
talking about?
This is
and
Link's,
also,
training attire.
Yeah, it's news to me.
and this is the chili fish skewer we just got from the recipe.
So they're using all the recipes,
So I
all
can
the
use that.
armors from Breath of the Wild.
Right,
They're
and
putting
every
it in
character
there.
will react differently to the dishes that you cook for them. And some characters even have favorite dishes, and they'll say something different when you give them their favorite dish.
Right on.
So it's a lot of fun to try out a bunch of different recipes and see which your characters prefer.
Yeah, and if you watch the TGS live stream, you might have seen the cutscene where it's showing the tower actually raising from the ground. And that tower is actually going to be a base for Link whenever he goes to the next mission. So I think you just saw him kind of like warping from the tower to that new location where I'm going to be showcasing the 200 sword training mission.
Right.
Without
so
a
yeah,
shirt on.
it is a training mission. Without
Hey, don't judge me.
I mean,
there's no
the two-handed
judgment.
sword is a lot of
If
work.
anything, I just feel bad for Link.
Interesting.
No, you know, he
I guess
works
there's
up
less
quite a
fabric to
sweat
get in the
to
way
get that
while
thing
he's
around.
fighting.
Taker 610, you added me.
Yeah, so
There's
as
a
you can
theory
see, this is a
the
training
house
level,
you can
so
buy
you're
was
fighting
actually
against a lot
yours.
of
The guy
Hyrulean
says the owner went
soldiers,
off to war and never came
and
back.
using the two-handed sword,
Wow.
which
That makes a lot of
you know,
sense.
aesthetically does look a lot like how it
I
was
think
used
you
in
guys
Breath
are
of the
right.
Wild. In this game, it's slower but more powerful than the one-handed sword. But the fun thing about it is that he can.
That's so cool.
He can use the unique action to strengthen his strong attacks. In exchange, he takes a little bit of temporary damage. Like that. And in order to heal that temporary damage, you can press X to consume a meal in the middle of battle.
And,
I love the
I just wanna
animation. of
highlight the fact
eating.
that we're fighting inside of a village
Yeah, I
see
love the
Chico.
animation.
that did not
of eating.
exist.
Let's
Yeah,
get near
if
some
she'll do it
enemies.
for
That
us.
does not exist in Breath of the Wild. Or is
I'm
it
getting some
destroyed?
enemies. Oh, no, not quite. Okay, so, but one of those eating animations is highly aggressive, and if Chico doesn't near some enemies, then we will see what happens. And hopefully we'll get an opportunity to show you that because I love
This
it.
is so cool.
Yeah! Okay, yeah, there it is. Okay.
Look like they were trying to crawl away.
Aggressive food eating,
I love
the
it.
shockwave blast, sending the soldiers
Is this the closest
flying.
thing to a dark net we've seen?
I love that they included that in this game as part of the actual fighting
I hope we
style
see
for
darkness
the
in
two-handed
Breath of the
sword.
Wild,
I think
too.
it's a great homage to Breath of the Wild and people who played it like I did, which is to
Nice
say
Haley I
having
got going there.
stockpile of apples or something in
Do we know
my
what
inventory
the
so I could chow down
little
when I'm
guardian
being blown
does
back
yet,
by a strong
besides
attack
following
that
you
did lots
around?
of damage.
You can aggressively eat your apples and send those soldiers
Aggressively eat your apples. It's the only way to eat apples in this game.
If you burn,
Alright, how many
apples,
KOs do
you
we
can
have?
actually get grilled apples here.
Brandon, we're fighting
Oh, yeah.
Hylians because this is actually
Alright.
training. This is not an actual war.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Just
We're more than
training
halfway.
with the hammer.
I'd also like to point out that this location is very familiar. It appeared as ruins in Breath of the Wild, but now, before the Calamity, it's in its heyday. And it's very cool to see what it looked like before it got destroyed.
Yeah, and
Nice
Chico,
one,
maybe you can
Chico.
show us some lightning rod action.
What? Hold on.
Oh yeah, we did get to see the ice rod
This
before.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
For real.
Poor soldiers.
See, I'm not
You can do it.
like maybe the gameplay could get repetitive,
So
but like
as you can see,
there
what-
seems to be a
she's
decent amount of
timing her
things you can
attacks
do
for
in
when that weak
combat,
point gauge comes out.
and they will be
the
adding
big strategy
upon
against
it
these
throughout the
stronger
course of the
enemies
game.
is to
So, I
cut
don't
down
know.
that weak point gauge.
The gameplay may
and
not
create an
get that
opening so
repetitive,
you can
you know?
do,
So and that's my
counterattack,
biggest concern with this.
which can be
Everything
very
else I
powerful.
think is great.
Alright,
Nice
a
one.
little bit more.
Yeah, Kieran, I would say this is basically a side quest. It looked like they were just powering up a hammer, and this is just like a training mission to be better with the
I
hammer.
love the two-handed sword so much. I think it's my favorite. It's so satisfying, to just slam through all of these enemies, these thousands and thousands of enemies.
Yeah,
and
I don't
also
know if
to,
they
like,
did
take
they
a little
say it
break
was
to have
Long
a
Long
snack
Ranch.
here and then.
It does kind of look like it would be Long
lot
Long
of fun.
Ranch.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is my favorite one.
I'm hoping we can
I'd like to
I
see
know your
horses.
favorite is
show
the
some, show some
is
flurry
the-
rush too. Oh, of course.
I'm trying!
Yeah.
I suck at this thing!
No, you
What?
don't.
No, you don't. You're doing great. You're almost there.
You need to find another one of those captains.
Okay. No, he's not there. Yeah,
So do you guys think this is
right.
live?
There we
Or
go.
was it
yeah.
recorded beforehand and just showing it
It's
live?
Derek!
He's my favorite.
Whoa, what was that?
It's cool. He's very heavy moving.
I'm assuming that was something to do with their stream and
Yeah.
not the actual
He
game.
moves surprisingly quickly for someone of his size, though, I have to say.
Yeah. Oh.
That's a good one.
You can do it, Chico.
Take your stick
I
to
believe in
anatomy.
you.
If Paya could see Link fighting with his shirt off,
Size.
she'd lose consciousness.
Oh my goodness.
You're probably
Oh my
right.
gosh. That looks like a little bit of rough.
I love
play
that
for
you can
training.
fight the champions during training.
They take their
So
training
it kind of
very
goes along with the
seriously.
idea that
Nice
because of the
work.
Warriors game, there's going to be a lot of
Nice
mix-ups
Yeah, wow.
Man, you
beyond
made very
just what
quick
you would
work of that.
expect,
Good
like
job.
good versus
Yeah,
evil.
you did.
All right, let's cut away from this for a second because we have one other thing we'd like to show you.
Character reveal.
Chico's got to set it up though.
Playable character reveal. Who's gonna be King Rome?
I
Yeah,
Robbie?
love Daru.
Pura?
He's so great. He's such a
well, and it's really
fun character.
Yeah, and it's cool to see all the various characters, you know, that we know and love from Breath of the Wild, but seeing them in this different setting and seeing all of their special moves and how those differ. I do really like seeing that, and I'm excited for what we're about to show you as well, you the viewers.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
Show me.
it's great. It's an amazing thing that they've done with this game to bring us into this era, you know, pre-Calamity, and show us all these characters and show us the intricacies of how they interact and how they perform in battle. It's stuff that I think personally, as a fan of Breath of the Wild, I wished for so hard, was the chance to be able to see these guys in their prime. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and not to bring the soup ladle up too much, but I do want to say I love that they included the soup ladle. You know that they're
Kieran,
bringing it
you
back,
said, to
and
be
we
honest, what
see
game
those
doesn't get repetitive?
same touches
Um,
from Breath of the Wild in
I
this
mean,
game.
I mean,
And Chico mentioned
you
that the
can make
weapons
that
aren't
argument. Any
breakable,
game can get
so
repetitive after a
you
while.
really could, you know,
Yeah.
equip that soup ladle if you wanted a serious challenge.
Pura has the
You could
best
fight
design.
with the soup ladle.
Serious.
You could
You know,
use
yes,
weapons to
choose your
make
own
the soup
adventure.
ladle stronger. Yeah. I love it. I love that when you use the soup
Okay,
ladle, you got
this
the
is Impa.
spotlight as a shield.
I'm
too.
never going to complain about Impa gameplay, but what are they showing?
All right, so
Totally.
we're looking at Impa now.
Are they going to show like
Yeah.
boss
So
gameplay?
what I want to show is in the distance, but I need to take care of these guys first because these guys
We don't have any
get
audio.
away.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Ah!
So obviously, this is a new depiction of Impa that we're seeing here.
Ladle only run.
But
There you
Chico
go.
is about to show us just what Impa is capable of in the gameplay.
I love her. I
Oh,
love
she's
Impa
so
much.
cool.
I think she's so much fun.
I think
to
I might
play.
like Impa
She's
more
so
than
quick,
Urbosa.
and she has these different
Oh,
jutsu
she summoned a
attacks.
frog.
She's like
Come
the
on.
summoning
How
of
is
the
that
frog.
not a Naruto reference?
And the
How is that
creation
not?
of
I
stone.
killed them! Let's go!
You did. That was an impressive use of the electric rod, I have to say.
All right, Hinox
And here
gameplay.
we have a Hinox.
Well, they say Hinox. Hinox.
I love it. So
Hinox,
yeah, as I was
Hinox.
saying, Impa's gameplay, being able to absorb those
Hinox.
symbols to create the clones
Maybe
and then
Hinox.
strengthen the strong attack when she has all of her clones out is it's really fun. Takes a lot of strategy and timing.
Send them fly. Oh,
Nice.
oh my God! Keep it coming.
And you can see her
Summon another frog.
her Sheikah rune
The back.
usage does
Going back.
differ from the other characters we've looked at today too.
Bro, she hasn't
can
done
do it.
any damage.
So we discussed
Okay.
earlier
She is ready.
the usage of runes in order to create openings to counter strong enemies. And
This
it's
is
even
not the Great
more
Plateau.
important that you do that when fighting these big monsters too, because if you get the timing right on these,
what?
just like
Nice.
that,
That's so
you can create
cool.
like great dramatic openings for yourself.
Seeing his fat jiggle, seeing him
And
stuck
it
in
really
midair.
is vital that you get these weak point
Oh,
smashes
come on.
in
Impa is
because they
so
do
cool.
so much damage, and it can really make it easy to, or
Wow.
easier, I should say, to take these guys out.
To take out the poor Hinox that was just having a nap, minding his own business,
Roll
I
out.
don't
doing
know
his own
about that.
thing. Well, I mean, I would be grumpy too if I got woken up like that.
That's fair.
This thing is a damage sponge.
Nice work.
I feel like
short work of this
definitely
guy.
some missed attacks.
She really is.
I love that flying squirrel move.
Yeah, you gotta do Stacy's every time he's in the air. You have to.
The maniacal laughter, yes.
I love seeing the fat jiggle. It's so funny.
You guys
Nice.
Frog summon? Nope, bomb summon.
All right, I think that's
All right, I
all the
think
time we
that's-
have left for today. Let's stop beating up on this
Oh,
Forky Knox and let him
no.
go back to his nap.
Oh no.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. This was Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which releases Friday, November 20th. We hope you enjoyed it. We sure did. And have a great day.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. I'll have a great day. So, where are we here? I think that was great. No, I really enjoyed that. I think it kind of just goes to show how awesome how awesome Age of Calamity is going to be. It looks pretty awesome. It looks fun. Impa just had a slew of moves that I just thought looked so satisfying. I just want to reiterate how her being able to summon a frog and using hand signs and shadow clones, how is that not a reference to Naruto? I need to know how it's not, because it definitely is. And she looks really, really cool to play as. Urbosa, that her lightning combinations also look sick. And then, you know, just seeing that map menu with the different attacks and being able to train and expand upon your moveset, that all is very reassuring that this game will have some nice lasting gameplay. And that is, I don't know how do we pronounce it? Is it Hinox? Hinox? I've been saying Hinox for years at this point. But the giant troll thing, seeing the stasis suspend that giant thing in the air, and you could just, like, you know, lay it on him, and then when he collapses, you see all the fat and hair jiggle. That's some pretty nice animation. I just, this is a lot of nice little things about this game. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm very excited about it. Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Arnav, I do not know much about the voice actors in this game, unfortunately. Brandon, I see you agree. You like the secondary animations on Hinox's hair and fat. Brandon said, I hope they improve the enemy AI in Breath of the Wild and allow for more interesting combat options for them. Are you talking about for Breath of the Wild 2? Or are you saying that you hope that the enemies themselves have better AI? I don't know. I don't expect too many AI improvements, but we'll see. Yeah, David. Yeah, Kieran. I am so ready to play this game. Very ready. Did the ancient Sheikah and Yiga summon frogs? Giant frogs? News to me. Kieran, if Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity sells more than 2 million, that already makes it the best-selling Warriors game to date. Is that so? Then I think that's going to be an easy thing to break for this game. 12 feet tall. Hi, I did not like Breath of the Wild. I'm sorry. You know, everyone is entitled to their own opinions. That's fine. Yeah, see? Yeah, as Brandon said, no need to be sorry. It's about your opinion. Hello there, Patrick Kuhn. I am not interested in this Splatoon thing. Smash Bros. Ultimate Splatoon North American Online Open. Nope, I'm not interested. I am not interested in that. Tigger, you should definitely try Breath of the Wild. I mean, obviously, you know, everyone has their own opinions, but Breath of the Wild is a fan favorite for a reason. It's one of the best open world games ever. Lower Legend. I could see his game sell close to 10 million just because of the Breath of the Wild tie-in and the time frame it is coming out in, along with the pandemic. A perfect storm for this game to sell gangbusters. I think you're absolutely right. I think this game is going to do incredibly well. It's coming out for November. It's taking the spot of the holiday game. There's a rabid fan base for Zelda content. And yeah, a lot of people are going to be at home. So I agree. This game is going to sell gangbusters. Kieran, Urbosa looks really fun. She is slow but hits super hard. I like those kind of characters. I enjoy heavy characters. Tigger, you think Pikmin 4 and Mario Strikers 3 might come out in 2021? Anything's possible. I just don't have a lot of evidence to support that idea. Like, could Nintendo come out with a Strikers hypothetically next year? Absolutely. But at the same time, they could come out with any sport game for any Mario sport game next year. It doesn't have to be Strikers. Now, Strikers is my favorite kind of Mario sports game. I feel like they should definitely revisit it. So I hope that they do. Definitely. In terms of Pikmin 4, I do believe we will someday see Pikmin 4 for sure. I think there's a greater chance that we see Pikmin 4 before we see the next Mario Strikers. Now, if Nintendo decided to prove me wrong on that, that's okay. But given that we got Pikmin 3 Deluxe, you know, that's going to get more fans acquainted with the Pikmin series. Wouldn't surprise me if Pikmin 3 Deluxe outsells the original Pikmin 3. So there'll be more people open to a new Pikmin game. You show off Pikmin 4 and graphically, it's just looks amazing. And I'll actually say that considering that there have been little to no visual upgrades in Pikmin 3 Deluxe, that might partially be because they didn't want to really get into that aspect of the game, and they're just focusing with the actual team that's working on Pikmin 4. They just want that game to look so much better than Pikmin 3 Deluxe. You know what I mean? Maybe. But either way, I do like all the little quality of life changes we did see in Pikmin 3 Deluxe. It looks pretty good. So I'll say that because of Pikmin 3 Deluxe and because technically Shigeru Miyamoto years ago told us that Pikmin 4 was almost done, I think the game, they probably had to rework it and redo it over or something, which is why we haven't seen it yet. But I do think that game is coming sooner than later. 2021 is not out of the question. I think we see it before the end of the Switch's life cycle. Yeah. "12 Feet Tall. I want a new Mario Gold and Mario Basketball." I liked NBA Street with the Mario characters. I didn't play the Mario Basketball game on the DS, but I'm not opposed to another Mario Basketball game. I love basketball. It's my favorite sport. Jonathan Hemphill. "These blacksmiths could really help Breath of the Wild too." You're right. Yeah. Adding the option to expand and upgrade your weapons and things of that nature through blacksmiths makes tons of sense, given that people, I think, will be returning to Hyrule because the Calamity has been subdued and Link and Zelda are working to restore Hyrule. I think we're going to see a lot more NPCs and characters throughout the world of Hyrule. Some civilizations being built up again. Could include some new villages, some areas with blacksmiths, and we'll have that opportunity to, you know, repair and improve upon our weapons. I think that I want to say I even expect it, actually. What about Nintendo? Nintendo showed awesome designs for shops and cafes in the Nintendo theme park, including a Mario-themed food item mock-up. Well, you should send me a link to that. That sounds pretty cool. I don't think I've seen that. Awoke Alwa. I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't show a new character in the presentation. You know what? I'm also slightly disappointed as well. They may say that just for some trailer drops. We technically have 7 confirmed playable characters, right? Link, the champion, so that's 5. I was gonna say Mifa, she's a champion. But yeah, Link and the 4 champions, so it's 5. Zelda and Impa, so that's currently 7. I would say that Robbie, Purah, and King Rome are all strong candidates to be playable characters. And I don't expect there to be a whole bunch of playable characters, but who knows? We'll see. There's definitely some other options. Like Hetsu. Even though Hetsu might not be born yet, but we'll see what they do. Master League 2011. I admit I'm a little disappointed that there are no hub areas in Age of Calamity. I see your point, but we still can explore these individual areas. We're still going to be able to see these areas from beforehand. And given that it's a Warriors game, I never really expected a huge kind of hub area. That would have been nice. And that when we saw that map, that was kind of breathtaking for a moment. But it looks like that map is being treated more as a menu as opposed to what we can actually explore. So, yeah. I understand your point, but that's why we're going to get Breath of the Wild too. And we can still explore a lot of these areas that were in Ruined Breath of the Wild through the missions. Tigger, I wouldn't mind a Mario Golf. Not my cup of tea, but I think Mario Golf definitely deserves to happen. With those Joy-Cons, you could definitely make a pretty good golf game, I think. Karen Buckley, the maps actually look pretty big compared to other Warriors games. Some parts feel more open. Could be. I don't expect the actual maps themselves to be open because they haven't shown that. I think they would have pointed that out by this point. Not saying there isn't some decent exploration, but they're not I don't think you'll be able to traverse several provinces within one mission. I think you're going to be locked to a certain section. It might be relatively large, but it's not going to be a whole province like in Breath of the Wild. Sweet Ride 95. I've seen enough. I'm ready to play it. 100%. I was sold from the first trailer, from the first second. Everything else I see is just more icing on the top. I don't mind icing. I love icing. Awoke Owl. I also hope we see Skyward Sword HD next year with the 35th anniversary for Zelda, since next year Skyward Sword would have been out for 10 years, and in Mario Galaxy that made the motion they made the motion controls work for Mario Galaxy. That's right. So there's already a system in place there. I think you're onto something. My belief is that we're for sure getting Breath of the Wild 2. And Skyward Sword seems like a decent bet as well. What I'm sort of debating is that given that we're getting Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity now, or next month in November, the end of November, how much will we have to wait after the release of that game to get the next Zelda game? Yes, Nintendo's probably gonna. I do think there's gonna be more than one Zelda thing to come out during the 35th anniversary year for Zelda, same way they did for Mario this year. But they still have to space things out a little bit, right? So if we're getting Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity now, to me that suggests that Breath of the Wild 2 probably isn't coming out this March. As much as I would want that to happen, I think it's possible, but I just don't think it's super likely. I think we'll probably have to wait a little bit longer. But we're not sure, right? And technically, the 10-year anniversary, that time, it would be 10 years for Skyward Sword, would be holiday 2021. The Zelda Anniversary is this February. How they choose to celebrate that, when they choose to celebrate that, the timing doesn't always matter. I think it sometimes does, though. For example, with 3D All-Stars, it came out in the actual anniversary month for Super Mario. So it's hard to say how they'll handle that. So really, I'm just kind of debating how they're going to space out the different Zelda games. Like, if Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild 2 are coming out next year, which I think is a decent bet, how they're going to space those out, especially with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity coming out next month. So I think they're going to want to space those out a little bit, and it might make more sense to see Breath of the Wild 2 in the second half of the year and Skyward Sword in the first half of the year. Would I prefer it to be the other way around just because I want Breath of the Wild 2 as soon as possible? Yes, but I think more likely we see Skyward Sword first just because it's the remaster of an older Zelda game, and then we get Breath of the Wild 2. But we'll see what happens. "12 Feet Tall, what scary horror game are you going to start playing on Nintendo Switch? And when, I mean, it's Halloween month, right?" That's an interesting point. I would like to play a Halloween-related game on my Switch. I currently don't have any plans to do that at this point. I know there's a lot of decent, smaller horror-related titles on the eShop. I technically haven't downloaded Resident Evil 4 yet. Maybe I'll just pick up a Resident Evil game on my Switch. And just to be clear, I've played the Resident Evil 4 several times. I love Resident Evil 4. I've bought it multiple times. But I haven't bought it for my Switch yet. So maybe I play through that game, potentially. I also don't necessarily have to celebrate Halloween, but it might be a fun thing to do. So we'll see. And it wouldn't shock me if there are some good, promotions going on for horror-related games during Halloween. Maybe you can get a few cheap Resident Evil games, or there's a slew of horror games out there. So we'll see. Tigger, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess dual pack should happen. A lot of people have been wanting that. My only thing is that while that, I think, does make sense, I also think Nintendo has to save other Zelda games for later on, I think it would be interesting to see a year that has a Skyward Sword HD separate release, a Twilight Princess Wind Waker dual pack, and Breath of the Wild 2, and we're getting Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity this November. That would be a lot of Zelda for a short period. So I feel like one of those things will probably be saved for another year, but we'll see what happens. Ring Fit Master, I just gotta say it, I'm looking forward to Age of Calamity and Breath of the Wild 2, but after the sequel is released, I want a new Zelda game with different art style and story with new characters. I think that's gonna happen. I think this generation, they're going all in on Breath of the Wild, but once that's done, they're gonna start working on the next generation of Zelda, and it's probably gonna be for more powerful hardware, and the art style will change. I expect that. Wokawa, so they can make it in Skyward Sword because the Joy-Con sense the hand movement, and maybe they can make the handheld touchscreen work with Skyward Sword, or maybe the right stick, but I hope so. There's a few different ways they can go about doing it. I do believe that perhaps the best way to handle the motion controls for the sword attacks in Skyward Sword is just to map it to the analog stick for most of the game, but obviously having motion control options as well makes sense. I just hope we're not forced to have to play with just the Joy-Cons for Skyward Sword. There needs to be a way to play the game with the Pro Controller. They did give us a way to do that with Mario Galaxy and 3D All-Stars, so I expect something similar for Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword's more involved, though, with the motion controls. So I think what they would have to do would be to map the right analog stick to the sword attacks, but it's Nintendo, so sometimes they come up with interesting ways to do things or just sort of don't. So we'll see what they actually do. What about Nintendo? Yeah, 100%. I don't think they'll keep the art for the game after Breath of the Wild 2. Would love a more realistic look on the Switch 2. The Wii U tech demo looked great. We are 100% on the same page. That is what I want to see. We're years away from that, just for the record, but yes, that is what I want to see. Tigger, oh my gosh, imagine a Mario Strikers dual pack. I would scream. Mario Strikers dual pack would be nice. I think, if anything, we just get a new Mario Strikers game, though. I don't know when we get that, but I think at some point we will. Mr. Aztec Gamer, I think March or April for Breath of the Wild 2 report said 2020 was going to be cramped because of 2020. So, there are Switch revision reports for early 2021. And we know that Monster Hunter Rise is coming out this March, upcoming March, to close out the fiscal year. I think it makes sense to expect some sort of Zelda game with the Switch revision, especially if it has improved visuals. And I'll even say that I think that there should be more than one game coming out around the release for this Switch revision. And if you look at the Switch Lite release, Nintendo had 2 big Switch games published. Nintendo games come out during that time. One of them was Link's Awakening Remake, and the other one was Dragon Quest XI's. They were working on that game for a really long time. Not Nintendo. Nintendo helped to fund it, but Square. Big game, big third-party game, and those launched alongside a Switch Lite. I definitely see a scenario where Nintendo could have a Zelda game and Monster Hunter Rise come out along with a Switch revision, perhaps this fiscal year. Those reports did say a revision's coming and that there'd be a lot of games coming out throughout 2021. It's going to be a little bit more cramped, which is not really a bad thing if you want to play a bunch of games. So I do think there's a chance we see that, but I feel like March would be too soon for Breath of the Wild 2. I think, if anything, we see Skyward Sword HD and Monster Hunter Rise along with the Switch revision this March. I think that's kind of like if I think that's the most likely scenario if the Switch revision is coming out this March. We may have to wait a few more months for that. Like early 2021 might not be to close out the fiscal year. It might be like May or June or something, And if that happens, then if we have to wait a few more months, at that point maybe I will have the belief that we can see Breath of the Wild 2 launch alongside a Switch revision. And I'm not completely discounting the possibility though that Breath of the Wild 2 does come out this March. Like that was a prediction I had beforehand, but as evidence presents itself, our opinions can change, right? I still think there's a chance that can happen, but it's just because of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, I feel like it's less likely. But I would say the earliest we see Breath of the Wild 2 is this March, maybe with a Switch revision, but I'm expecting a little bit later into the year at this point. Trophy Tall, Breath of the Wild 2 is too cartoony or anime-ish for my taste. I really like the art style. I think it's beautiful. A lot of games are copying it, like Genshin Impact, for example. I started playing it yesterday. It looks nice. Definitely not nearly as good as Breath of the Wild, so anyone who says that is just lying or wrong. But it's interesting. But I also definitely would like to see another art style. I would like to see a more realistic take, for sure. As Brandon noted earlier, something like the Wii U tech demo that was like based off the Twilight Princess art style. Something like that would be really cool to see. Patrick Kuhn, would you prefer Let's Go Johto or Diamond Pearl remakes? That's tough. I would love both. I think in general I prefer the main style of Pokemon though. But at the same time, Johto is my favorite region. My first Pokemon games were Silver and Gold. So that's what kind of makes it tough for me to decide which one I would prefer. I also loved Pearl and Diamond. That was also one of my preferred generations. That generation is what got me into competitive Pokemon. That's where I guess you could say my interest in Pokemon evolved quite a bit. So going back to that after it's been so long, because we actually got the Soul Silver, Heart Gold remakes after Pearl and Diamond. Like that was what came right after that. So that generation, I should say, it was part of that generation. So timing wise, I think it would make more sense to see us return to Sinnoh, but at the same time though, you look at how they've handled the Let's Go series. The next logical leap for that would be Let's Go Johto. They may want to come back to that sooner than later. Would I prefer that they wait a little bit longer to go back to Let's Go? Yes, I think. I think overall I would like to see Sinnoh remakes first, but I'll take either one. Now, if they do Sinnoh remakes, though, my expectations are a little high for that. So when I say expectations, like what I think they should do versus what I think they will do. So I think they should remake Sinnoh and have like pockets of wild area. Like, so they should reconstruct the map a little bit to have that kind of gameplay in there. Do I think they will do that? I think there's a chance they will, especially because they're moving forward with the wild area gameplay. But they might save the next generation game to go full wild area. And so we may have to wait a bit longer for that. And if they do a remake, they might just, keep it simplistic and just stick to the original layout of the game. But that's also why I feel like Let's Go kind of makes more sense, because with Let's Go, that is a style of gameplay, so there won't be that much backlash or expectation of having to change that around, So that's another reason why I think Let's Go Johto might happen first, just because of that, because it's easier to do, it's less resource intensive. But in terms of what I want to see, it's Sinnoh remakes. To end my long-winded answer, I want to see Sinnoh remakes, but I'll be happy with either one. Ring Fit Master. This may sound controversial, but I hope to see Metroid Prime 4 be very graphically realistic as much as possible. The Switch can handle full of gore, kind of like Doom or Wolfenstein 2 on the Switch. I think it is going to be pretty realistic, actually. Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3 were fairly realistic. Now, Prime 3 started going into more of a, I don't want to say cartoony, but it definitely was more pseudo-realistic. It started being a lot more colorful and things of that nature, which I think was part of I think it worked well at the time because it helped the game to stand out next to the 360 and PS3 games at the time. It held up really well at the time. It still holds up fairly well, but resolution is where it really kind of is held back. But as Brandon says, I think it will be a stylized, realistic look. So it's going to be more on the realistic side, but stylized. Absolutely. If you look at all the hirings that they're doing, these are people that have worked on a lot of big, realistic-looking AAA games. All of the talent they're hiring have been making a lot of realistic-looking AAA games. That doesn't mean the game is going to be gray and black and brown everywhere. I think there's going to be a lot of color to this game, but it's going to be on the more realistic side. I think that's how it's going to turn out. Yeah. JM0235. So do you think there would be an adventure mode in the new Hyrule Warriors? So from what I understand, the game's going to be mission based and there's going to be a story be told throughout that. Like there'll be like chapters. I think that we even saw the chapters in the menu during the live stream. So you pick chapters. When you pick a chapter, the story is told throughout that point, and you progress throughout the game, and the map expands. You have more things to do in it. And that's how it's going to be. So when you say adventure mode, I don't think you're going to be able to explore the entire map of Hyrule like in Breath of the Wild freely. I think you're going to be able to explore these sections of the map at a time, and they're going to be closed off because this is a Warriors game. Now, those sections may be relatively large, and there's a lot you could see there, perhaps, but they're still going to be closed off sections and not super free. That's my expectation. Patrick Kuhn, would you prefer Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask on Switch or Twilight Princess Wind Waker? That depends if it's just like ripping the 3D versions, or like if it's like remakes of Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask, that. If we're just getting what we got on 3DS or N64 and just scaled up, then definitely I would prefer Twilight Princess Wind Waker. See, I actually haven't gotten a chance to play through Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition yet, so might actually pick that up today. I just don't expect these sections to be very open. Mr. Aztec Gamer, with all the Western devs they've been hiring, Metroid Prime 4 should look damn great and on par with the industry in many ways. Yeah. 100% agreed. Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 is going to look sick, guys. It's going to look so good. I don't think we're going to see it like this year. If they show at the Game Awards, I would love to see that, but I think we're a little bit of a ways off. But yeah, when we do finally see that game, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. But I think, I'm probably going to call the stream now. Thanks for coming by, everyone. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. And there will be content coming throughout the week, so stay tuned. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.